Young Justice Outsiders. Season 3 of Young Justice is upon us. You guys want to know what C-Dubs is thinking? Stick around to find out. What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm your host, as always, C-Dubs, and I'm riding solo on this video. And guys, Season 3 of Young Justice is upon us, entitled Young Justice Outsiders. And guys, it has been a long time coming. We have been cramming and hoping and praying, and we put in our viewing hours on Netflix for this to come. It does kind of suck that we put in all those viewing hours on Netflix to make it happen, and they go around and turn around and put it on their own streaming service where we have to get their streaming service. And yes, I do have their streaming service. But I understand not everybody can afford it, not everybody can get it, and especially if you're a certain age, it might not be something that you could afford. It might not be something your parents will chip in for you. And it's kind of sad, unfortunately, because, we can't all enjoy it together legally, if you will, or morally, if you will. So, what do I think about Young Justice Season 3 so far? So far, I'm a huge fan of it. I do like it. I like it a lot, but there are a lot of things about it in the 6 episodes that we've gotten so far that really frustrate me. And I think that you guys take our opinins for what they're worth, just opinions, but you do value our opinions as we value yours here in the universe. So I just want to take a moment to kind of, I'm not going to say vent, but I do want to get some of these things off my chest and see if anyone else has noticed them or is equally as frustrated by them as me. First and foremost, I want to make sure that I come across that I absolutely do love Young Justice. I love all the characters. I'm a huge fan of Season 3 so far as well. I do like it, to be honest with you. But, again, like I've said, there are a few things about it that are just kind of irking me just a little. I understand some of them, and some of them, they just... Alright, so let's just jump right on into it. And this is not going to necessarily be a review of everything we've gotten so far, but there are going to be spoilers here. So, spoiler warning now, guys. We are in the spoiler room brawl, and I just want you guys to know that if you don't want spoilers or you haven't gotten around to see it, because I know not everybody has, even not everybody here on the team has been able to watch it. But if you haven't, and you don't mind, stick around. And maybe you guys can have a heads up when you go into the seasons, okay, that some of these things are there. This way maybe you could either overlook them or maybe say, hey, Craig, and come back in 6 months' time, whenever you guys get around to seeing them and say, hey, Craig, I think you were overblowing it. And it's quite possible, because we don't all have the same opinions, and that's what makes this world so great. And some people don't seem to understand that, and some people automatically label you as a fanboy or a hater. When 9 times out of 10, it really is the other way around. And I do want to state for the record that there is someone out there that I considered a friend, or at least I thought we were friends. Not like good friends. We didn't go hang out or drink or anything like that. We weren't buddies in the real world, but we were friends on Facebook. We had a lot of same... we run in a lot of same circles. We have a lot of the same friends. We have a lot of the same ideas. We like a lot of the same things, and I thought we were friends. Today we got into an argument on Facebook, which is absolutely ridiculous that we both grown men did this. And I just want to apologize if I offended that dude in any way. I'm not going to say any names, but it is just a little ridiculous that we were fighting about a TV show that I honestly liked. I don't know if he assumed that I didn't like it and he just didn't like it. I don't know. We were not able to come across to an agreement, if you will. But again, I just want to apologize. Put those vibes out there that there's no hard feelings on my end. I just don't know why or how it even got to that point. So anyway, I'm going to go into what I think about Young Justice Season 3. So stick along for the ride, guys, because some of these you may like, some of these you may not. But we'll talk about in the comments below like we always do. like civil human beings, right? Universe. All right. So first and foremost, the time jumps. The time jumps from the first season to second season were jarring, especially the first time. But we've kind of come accustomed to them, and and one thing that I liked some of the time jumps. We got to see how they've kind of progressed and matured. 100%. Now, this particular time jump is not as many years as the first season, or from first season to second season, which was 5 years. This is only 2 years and maybe even just a couple of days, if you will. But we don't see that big of a time jump, and the time jump itself isn't what messes me up. It's I've also going back and rewatching between season one and two. There were, and by the end of season two, there are still some things that were never answered as how they happened or how they played out. Maybe they'll show us here. I doubt it, considering we did another time jump. But I do understand that it is a really good form of storytelling. It intrigues us. It gives us questions right off of the bat that we are going to stick around and try to find the answers to. But when we're not given those answers, and trust me, I'm someone who was a huge fan of Lost. When you're not given those answers, it tarnishes the memory of the outcome, if you will, the entire show and the integrity of the show. So I'm hoping that they give us all the answers that we all have, okay? But the time jump, again, is fine. It's just sometimes if you don't go back and explain some of the things, and we're already 6 episodes in, and we've already got a couple of answers, and I'm sure we'll get some more, but if we don't get all the answers that we need, it's just why even do it in that particular moment? Are you just doing it for the sake of getting people hooked, if you will? I don't want to say that this was a ploy to get us hooked from the get-go to keep, because some people are literally just getting this service just so they could watch Young Justice and then they're going to get rid of it type of thing. So I get it if that's why they were doing it, but I don't think that's why they were doing it. It's not a ploy or a scheme or anything like that, because they did it between season one and season two. And season two was free, pretty much free for everyone if you had cable. So I don't believe there's any malice intent into that way of storytelling. But again, it is slightly frustrating if by the end of it we don't get some of the answers we're looking for. I'm not going to go into all the questions I have. I'm sure we all have a lot of the same ones. I'm sure you have some that I don't. I'm sure I have some that you don't. So it is what it is. Another thing that's really jarring to me is McGann. I'm 100% okay with the look. Initially, it struck me as off-putting, and the only reason why I find it odd and a little frustrating is because she is such a popular character. She's probably top 3 popular characters on this show, period, and to have such a change is kind of jarring. It is kind of shocking. But I do want to say that I do love the idea that she is becoming okay with herself as in her white appearance. I am okay with her also showing honor to Jean Jones, her uncle, if you will, at least who she considers to be family to her. She's honoring him at the same time, so she's kind of doing both. And it is good for children, especially, who are watching this show, to understand that who you are is a good thing. Okay, I found it really jarring the very first time it came across. But then she also does grow the hair when she's in her human form. So we still get it from time to time. So if you're still a fan of McGann, she's still the same character. She still talks, acts, and reacts to things the same way. She's still very compassionate. So that is fine. But again, that was one of my frustrations off the bat. But it has subsided since then. Another one of my big frustrations is really just one episode in particular, and that's going to be the big heavy point of this video. And it was the first episode of this week, which was Private Security. I had a real big problem with it, and now that I'm actually saying the title, it kind of adds to my frustration. So the first 3 scenes we get from this video are members and characters basically complaining about Dick Grayson. And they end their rant, if you will, or their frustrations with, "Where's Dick?" And emphasis on the Dick. Now, this happened, I believe, in the first episode, maybe the second episode as well, where it was the first episode, where Roy and Dick, or the first time they meet within this season, when Dick goes over to his house to recruit Artemis. they have this little discussion, and he calls him Roy, and he doesn't want to be called Roy anymore, and he calls him Richard instead of Dick, and he's basically emphasizes Dick. So, and it was because he was being a dick. And that time it was kind of funny, it was a chuckle. But then again, in Private Security, the first three scenes, three separate characters, just emphasize the dick. We get it, man. We're all comic book fans. We all know his name is Dick Grayson. We all get it. We all got it. We all understand it's just the name. But it's just slightly frustrating to me because it's so childish and elementary of a joke to me for it to be emphasized. The first time was fine. I thought it was actually funny the first time. By the second time I got it, I was just like, really? Then it happened again in the very next scene. I was like, oh my God, come on, really? And then by the third time, I was almost done. I was like, I was getting ready just to skip the episode because it's just like, come on, man. We've all grown with this show. I was already an adult when the show first came out, so it's one thing, I get it. Okay, but again, I don't think this show is targeted towards kids. I don't care if it is animated. In fact, the kids that started watching this show have grown up by now as well. Okay, so, and yes, they have matured. And this was part of the conversation that me and a buddy of mine that we were having, or former friend, the gentleman I was having an argument with. I don't know if I got my point across, but he was like, oh yeah, they mature, deal with it, grow up. That's my point. We've all grown with them. They're grown up, and they're still just dick. And it was just, I felt that it was really immature, and I get it. I mean, it might be haha funny to some of the kids. It was just, I didn't like it at all. And again, it could just be me, and that is totally fine. But I just want people to understand that is kind of lowbrow. This show is above lowbrow, in my opinion. There was another part in the episode where, and again, I do understand there are some children watching this show, but this show has also done so much in believing that their target audience and their audience in general is smarter than your average TV show. And what I mean by that is a lot of times you get a lot of people in entertainment that think children are dumb, okay, or they act like they're dumb, or they just believe them to not be capable of understanding relationships and all kinds of things like that. It's one of the reasons why Peter Parker's not allowed to be happily married, why they try to retcon things and why they don't want characters to grow old, is because they just think that the younger audience can't handle or adapt or understand or even, see themselves in those characters. And that's a farce. I don't believe that at all. And this, especially the first two seasons of this show, proved that children can follow along. Okay, so children are not dumb, so let's not treat them like that. In this, there's this particular scene when Artemis brings Halo to the park and to kind of help, the Dr. Fate situation. I don't want to spoil too much. So, and she explains to Halo that we're not here because they're sitting on the bench while Dr. Fate removes the mask so that he can be with his daughter, if you will, and get that 1 hour. And she's like, I don't understand. Halo asks Artemis, I don't know, why did we come here if we're not going to be with our friends, if we're not going to hang out with them? And Artemis goes, we're not here for this part. And granted, I'm an adult, so I totally understood what was going to happen next and why they were there. Okay, but I do believe that the audience understood what was going to happen next. I full-heartedly believe everybody needed that, understood that. So a few seconds goes by, and of course, Zatanna and her dad have to say goodbye, and Zatanna starts crying, and Artemis goes to console her. And they cut over to Halo, and she goes, we're here for this part. And I was like, really? You don't think we all got that? Now, this is a very minor gripe. But it's something I don't believe from season 1 to season 2 they would have put in there. So there's some sort of disconnect, though there are so many things about this show that are showing even more maturity than when it was on Cartoon Network, if you will, i.e., damage and blood and danger and death. There's so much more involved in that, and dealing with post-traumatic stress and dealing with the, loss of loved ones, and I more power to this show, and I love that about this show. But again, that was just like, really, you don't think we all followed along with that one? And I guess it is okay for any of the younger audience that is watching that wouldn't have followed along. So that's again a minor gripe, but that's just my point. There's just little things out there that I feel that for every, leaps and bound step that they take in a positive, more mature manner, there's one or two really elementary steps back that they stumble backwards on, and it's not meshing well with me personally. I am a fan of the show. I'm not going to stop watching the show. I love the show. I love the characters. It's just that episode for me really was bad. And then there was a scene at the very end, almost the very end of the episode, that really didn't sit well with me, and it bothered me a lot. So it was after Brick is arrested. So he's arrested and he's placed in the collar, which basically negates his superpower, his super ability. He's in handcuffs, and essentially, as they're walking them to the car to arrest him, to bring him to Blackgate or whatnot, we pan over and we get this, and this is not the big part. This is just a silly part, and he's like, "Who are you guys?" And like, "We're private security," or whatever it is that they all said. And they all got together. It was a really like Batman Brave and the Bold moment. So I kind of chuckled at that. But the very, very next thing that happens, because he was talking, the police officer basically tases him. He shocks him. And I was just like, and they didn't say, and the heroes didn't say anything to him. Didn't say anything to the cop. And especially in this day and age, where there's so many, especially African Americans, okay, who are deathly afraid of being confronted by a police officer, and police officers who are deathly afraid, okay, and making bonehead, stupid decisions and racist decisions for the ones who know what they're doing, okay, and the ones that realize what they're doing. In the way the media treats, the boys in blue. This scene was uncalled for, and I'm not trying to protest or anything like that, but I was just like, the heroes, it was so out of character for not to say, don't do that. He's already been caught. He's already on his way to be incarcerated. You already arrested him. He doesn't need to be shocked. He wasn't doing anything. He simply said something. And the officer should have just said, "You have the right to remain silent." Not shocked him. And I didn't find it funny, especially in this day and age, with that problem that we're dealing with in the media. And what hurts me the most is like some people don't see that. And I'm like, it's those little things. We shouldn't accept those little things. Okay? We should hold them accountable for the crap that they do. Okay? And that scene was just completely called for. 5-10 years ago, maybe it would have been funny. Okay, but on top of it, though he is red in shade, it is very easily to look at Brick as a character and compare him to an African American in terms of his, the way he's portrayed in comics. Okay, he's very urban, if you will. I don't want to come across sounding ignorant in my comparison, but that's just how I've always taken that particular character. For better or for worse, again, please don't take that out of context. I don't mean anything to it, but it's just even worse of the imagery of the officer treating the arrestee incorrectly. And it was just, I did not appreciate it. I did not like it. I did not like that the heroes did not address it. And I know it was such a small part, and it was really just there for laughs. I get it, but I didn't find it funny. And I actually found it offensive. And I'm someone that if I find something offensive, I'm not going to sit there and protest about it, but I just want to talk about it. I want to let, my fellow nerds and let's talk about it. I want to know if anybody else saw that. I'm not saying that they should delete the show. The show should be protested. They should be fined. I'm not saying any of that. But I am saying that we do have a responsibility to try to help the situation, not poke fun of, and not instigate and not antagonize the situation, and not to play it for light, because it is an unfortunate, terrible, terrible situation that we as Americans are facing, okay? And I have lots of friends that, I would fear for them too. I am a Caucasian male, okay? I am part Hispanic. So I have been labeled from time to time as well. I have been arrested, okay, and wrongly arrested, if you will. That it affected my entire life at the moment. So I can kind of understand some of the feelings that a lot of my friends would feel in that particular situation, and a lot of what I've seen, obviously, on social media and the news. And it's not so cut and dry. It's not one side is 100% right, the other side's 100% wrong. There's good and bad on both sides. There's some of these tragedies that happen are legitimately tragedies and mistakes, and some of these and most of these probably aren't. But there are some like that, and I just don't think it should be in an animated series. Okay, that we all know. Even though I say it's not for kids, it is slightly geared towards children, or there is a hint that children would be watching it, and we shouldn't be, making them mute to that type of a situation. And the only other thing that I had a big problem with within that episode, and again, this is really just a tirade on that one episode, because the other 5 episodes, I really don't have any that big of a problem with. I've enjoyed everything else so far. And that is Dick Grayson, the way he was portrayed on not caring about Halo or Geoforce, it just almost like they're not my problem. We were there to stop the situation. We stopped the situation, and that's it. It don't go like that, buddy. It really doesn't go that way, like that, to be honest with you. And it's really sad that they painted someone who is known for being like this. That is a situation that I might see Batman say. Batman might be like, we did the job. That's that. They're free to make their own decisions. Even though a part of me also doesn't see Batman doing that, but maybe because Batman can be a little cold-hearted. Okay, Dick Grayson is not cold-hearted. He for the most part. There may have been times here and there, and this could have just been one of those times. But it's just, I've always seen Dick Grayson as and he was also the leader for a little while. Like, he is the heart and soul of that team, in my opinion. And the moral compass of Batman. He's the moral compass of him. Like, he's just the moral compass. And I just felt that there was a little out of character that they let him just be like, well, they're not my problem. Granted, sure, he came around and the rest of the team showed him the error of his ways, and he's only human and he's not perfect. Totally get all of that. But to me, it was just a little out of character for a character that's been so upstanding so many times in his creation, if you will. So that's really the truth about Young Justice and how I feel about it. There's just those few things, and obviously I kind of did go on somewhat of a tirade on some of these things, and it's just to me because it just didn't sit well with the contents of the show, and I hope maybe I think the show is still trying to find itself, and is going to give us those answers we're looking for, but I think the private security episode just didn't sit well with me in a couple of different ways. And I'm usually the type of person, if something offends you, keep it to yourself. But I have this platform where I can share my thoughts and feelings with the rest of you guys in hopes that you guys do the same with me so that we can talk about it. So guys, that's what I think about Young Justice again. Season 3 so far. I'm a huge fan. I'm going to stick with it. I don't hate it by any stretch of the matter. I am definitely not a fan of that particular episode. And if you are a fan of that episode, that's great. I'm happy for you. But that doesn't make that, just because you like it, above constructive criticism. And that's all I'm giving is constructive criticism, that I hold the show in a much higher regard to be taking these lowbrow dick jokes, okay, they've treated so many of these characters with so much respect for them to treat Dick Grayson with the disrespect of him not caring about these other kids, okay? And again, I hold them in such a regard to be so aware of the situations and the story that they're telling, for them to just be using a cop to tase some guy for laughs. And that's just kind of what I wanted to kind of let out here today, guys. I hope you guys don't hate me. I hope you guys aren't going to not be my friends anymore, or not, subscribe to the channel. And I don't want to make fun of the argument me and that guy had But again, if you ever watch this, I am truly, truly sorry that we bumped heads. If I said anything truly out of character, out of place, my friend, I have this tendency to call males my brother. I call females sister. Sometimes I say love. It's just a South thing, but I get it. But I always mean it in a good way. I do believe we're all brothers and sisters out there in the world. So, brother, if I offended you in any way, I really am sorry. Hopefully, you kind of can see where I'm coming from in this video, the things that I meant on why I did not like, especially this episode, and why I'm so frustrated with it. And Chris, the Mount Vernon kid, if you're watching this, again, I know I'm really, really sorry that that took place off of something that you've posted. I know you know me a lot better than that. You know that I meant nothing by it. You know that I'm not in any way, shape, or form hating on the show. But you do know that I am the type of guy, if I have something negative to say, I let my opinion known, but I take your opinion and I value your opinion. I value everyone's opinion. We all have the right to have our own, just like assholes. We all have one, right? So, universe, that's my 2 cents on the matter. Thank you for sticking around for me to get this off of my chest and allow me just to vent and give you the truth on the matter. This is something that I'm probably going to do from time to time on things that do bug me or frustrate me, and things maybe that even make me happy. Just getting the truth off my chest of how I feel on a particular situation. But guys, definitely let us know in the comments below. Are you guys liking Young Justice? Did you guys catch those things that I caught? And maybe now if you look back on them, do you guys see my point? Do I have a point? Am I absolutely crazy here? Am I batshit insane? Let me know in the comments below, guys. And until next time, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.